to Cornwall Seal Group Research Trust's virtual conference, Sharing Our Seas, Seals and People. We are excited to share an inspirational series of talks exploring a variety of aspects of seal conservation in the UK. And it's our 20th birthday. In that time, we've done 35,000 plus surveys, processed over 1 million photos for 72,000 plus seal IDs. To make sure we can continue this important work, check out our website to join our Wild Seal Supporter Scheme, back our crowdfunding campaign, or shop in our online store. Thank you for your support.
Hi, I'm Rose Summers.
And hi, I'm Josh Pawlowski.
And we're delighted to be here today as part of a virtual conference for Sharing Our Seas.
Now, by trade, Rose and I are wildlife photographers and filmmakers, so we aren't used to being this side of the lens. But today, we're going to make an exception.
To give a bit of context about what it is that Josh and I do, we specialise in creating immersive media for conservation organisations such as the Cornwall Seal Group Research Trust, who we've been working with to create a virtual experience of their wonderful grey seal skeletons, Septimus and Augusta.
Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about our project. We're going to talk you through what is VR, and we're also going to show you how it can help conservation education. At the very end, we're going to show you the teaser trailer for the experience that we've created, so stay tuned for that. So what is VR? Well, VR is the business of creating illusions and presenting them in one of these. Now, you might create those illusions in one of two main ways. Now, the first would be to capture reality, and you might do that with a camera like this one. So a 360 camera has at least two lenses, some have many, many more, and it allows it to see out and capture a real environment. You can then present that in a headset, but the problem is that these cameras are very often fixed, meaning that you have a fixed viewpoint in virtual reality, which doesn't allow you to move around. An alternative to this that would grant the user free movement would be to laser scan and photograph an environment, and use software and process this data to make a 3D model. Now, this is highly accurate, and an experience about the Sistine Chapel allows users to get up close and personal with Michelangelo's marvel. However, unlike 360 video, this technique doesn't allow for realistic moving subjects, creating more of a snapshot in time rather than a video. Alternatively, you can create environments using CGI, with techniques from the games and films industry. Now, without having to worry about accurately capturing reality, you can grant your user almost complete freedom of movement. You can also incorporate moving, virtual and interactable objects, such as 3D scans. Neither type is perfect, nor are they necessarily greater at communicating ideas over more traditional mediums like film and literature. However, when incorporated into a greater variety of resources, they can engage an audience in a whole new way.
So the technology has been around for quite a while. In fact, the first VR head-mounted display was seen in the 60s, which means some of you might already be familiar with virtual reality, but the likelihood is that you associate it with the sci-fi and gaming communities. What's really exciting is that in recent years, it's being adopted as a tool for education by the conservation world. WWF and Greenpeace are some of the charities that have used 360 video as a method for transporting audiences to conservation projects around the world. From the Amazon rainforest to Antarctica, to diving with turtles or sitting face to face with a mountain gorilla. The beauty of VR is its ability to immerse an unlimited number of people in locations and to provide close encounters with wildlife without placing further stress on the environment or the animals in real life. A number of studies carried out by Stanford University have demonstrated VR's potential even further by showing how immersive learning in a virtual world can lead to an individual changing their environmental behaviours in real life. In one study, a group of participants learnt about deforestation through an interactive computer-generated VR experience in which they had to cut down a virtual tree. In contrast to the group of participants who were simply asked to imagine the scenario, the VR group showed a long-term reduction of their consumption of paper. Researchers found similar results in a study where they used VR to educate participants about ocean acidification, illustrating that the technology has a place in raising environmental awareness.
So whilst it's clear that VR has strong potential for communicating global issues such as climate change, we really need to ask more questions about how VR can help us closer to home and how it might be able to reconnect us with our local wildlife. And that's where our passion really lies.
So to bring it back to people and seals, how can VR help? Well, across the last 2 years, I have worked to produce 2 informative VR pieces about grey seals. These projects began during my final year at university, where I'd focused on VR and conservation as part of my dissertation, and I was incredibly keen in applying what I'd learnt to the education about British wildlife. I began working with British Divers Marine Life Rescue and the Cornwall Seal Sanctuary to produce a 360 VR film that would allow members of the public to learn about and experience seal rescues and rehabilitation from the centre of the action. Early in my research for the film, I reached out to Sue, who, upon meeting her, introduced me to the grey seal skeleton that is Septimus. Septimus' skeleton was amazing, and his story was a harrowing reminder of the challenges that our grey seals and wider marine life still face today. I could envision his story and the skeleton lending themselves really well to a virtual experience, but not with the 360 video format that I was working with at the time. Instead, it would require a computer-generated environment that would allow viewers to explore and learn about his bones from angles that were not achievable in real life. To achieve this vision, it's been somewhat of a steep learning curve, one that began at university where I had to learn how to 3D scan in order to recreate a digital replica of the skeleton. Following university, I was able to dedicate the time that this project really needed for it to reach its full potential. I teamed up with the absolute wizard that is Josh. He just studied a master's in virtual reality and was able to bring technical expertise that has been absolutely invaluable in helping bring this vision to life. Throughout this project, the continuous warmth and enthusiasm shown by the seal conservation community has been incredibly infectious, not just to Josh and I, but to other contributors who, upon hearing about Septimus and Augusta's stories, have gone out of their way to make this project a success.
So the experience that we've created will allow the user to move, position and scale the skeletons, something that would be otherwise impossible in real life as they're simply too delicate. With expert narration from Gillian Burke, the experience draws attention to Septimus's and Augusta's remarkable stories. Now, we've focused on the user throughout designing this experience, and we've successfully trialled it on everyone from a teenage to a more senior audience, and this was really important to us, as we wanted to make sure that it was both informative and engaging no matter what your age.
We would have loved to have been at the conference today, sharing with you the VR experience in person, but in the meantime, we really hope that you enjoyed this little sneak peek of what you have to look forward to.
Welcome to the Seal Research Trust's virtual reality experience. Today, I'll be guiding you through the fascinating stories of 2 grey seals who lived and died in Cornwall. Each seal has a unique tale to tell. Explore their bones to learn how grey seals have adapted for life on our shores and to hear about the challenges that they face today.